Good morning, Africa. It's a new week and you are tuned in to the brightest morning show on the continent. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Get ready to be updated with all the biggest stories and happenings across the African continent. I am Joe Hansen reporting for duty.
And I am Oluchi Enobong. First off, we'll start with our headlines for today, Monday, October 25th, 2021.
And we'll go straight to Uganda, where the Kampala explosion has killed 1 and injures 5.
And we'll also move to Nigeria, where President Muhammadu Buhari is set to unveil e-Naira today.
Release Nnamdi Kanu or no elections in Anambra, IPOP says.
October 25th being today, SADC Anti-Sanctions Day in Zimbabwe. More on that.
And also we'll tell you about Namibia as it suspends use of Russia's Sputnik V. Get all the details here, right here on Breakfast Central.
Unatazama runinga ya New Central.
To all our viewers in Africa and beyond, thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Breakfast Central. Now we go straight to the front pages for today. And our first stop will be in Nigeria. We'll begin with the Daily Trust. Let's see what we have at the front pages of the Daily Trust. And today, well, you would find that big header right there, which says, despite SIM-NIN linkage, kidnappers, bandits still demand ransom via phones. Why it isn't working, according to experts. Policy effective, Pantami continues to say. Well, that's one big story you might want to look at. And there are pictures. There's a picture just in front of the Daily Trust. You can see kid police, they're actually training. Get you ready for the future, I would want to say. But let's take a look at other stories quickly in the front page. At the top, you have after Daily Trust story, Kano blind teacher gets job and house. Now, that's exactly what we mean when humanity comes to play. You might want to take a look at that story as well. There is another one. It says, amidst legal issues, PDP to proceed with convention. Take a look at that story too, if you can find it on page 48 of the Daily Trust. I'm going to take a look at some of the other stories you can find inside. Buhari leads Nigeria's delegation to Saudi Arabia Investment Summit, and gunmen attack Ogun Church, abduct 3 worshippers. That's a big one, Oluchi. That's a really big one.
A really sad one at this point in time.
We keep finding these type of stories in the front pages, but let's move on now to what we have next in the papers.
The Star, and that's the Star newspaper from Kenya. Now, the Star newspaper, you can see this picture of a young girl. It says, family of young mom slain by British soldier demands justice. Now you can see the picture of the young 21-year-old Agnes, who is alleged to have been murdered in 2012. Now 3 employees of the lodge have recorded statements at the Nayuki police station. That's on page 2 of the Star this morning. Also here on the Star, Oka fresh bid to stir up 2022 campaign. Principals fear that they may become irrelevant if they do not act quickly. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. And the very last one on page 6, it says Odinga men take backstage as ex-PM craft new team. That's on page 6 of the New Star this morning.
All right, away from the New Star, let's go straight to Namibia, and we have New Vision. And the New Vision is what we're taking a look at. Well, the big story, the big caption says, details emerge on Kampala bomb blast. See page 4. Police team links incident to domestic terrorists. Victims narrate ordeal. Museveni vows to catch culprits. That's exactly what we have at the front page. And you can see the pictures of people coming to take a look at the bomb blast was one thing that happened in Namibia. And then you had experts and you had the police, I beg your pardon, in Uganda. You had experts who actually came in to look at the situation as well. But the point is, Museveni has come out to say that this is a locally made bomb blast when he said that. And he went ahead to break the story down. You'll find all the details here, by the way. Just go straight to the pages, and I'm sure you read some more. In the meantime, let's also tell you that in the front page, you would see S2, S3 work, physics, maths, bios, literature, and chemistry. I like the fact that papers are also thinking of education here, and that's what we can find in the front pages of the New Vision. So make sure you check that out. And there's a picture of a little child or a little girl in that picture, in that front page. And it says a team of experts combing the scene of a bomb explosion in Quarter Zone Komamboga in Kwamampe Division, Kampala, yesterday. Bottom line, grab yourself a copy of the New Vision. You can find it online. Make sure you read and get the entire information.
From Uganda, let's move to the very last paper we have for you from Namibia, and it's all about the New Era this morning. Now, the New Era, we have a story that talks about religion. Church calls for referendum on abortion. Joe, this is a call from churches for referendum on abortion. That's on page 5 of the New Era this morning. Sputnik fallout. Now, he says Hafiku decries lack of information. That's also on the front page of the New Era this morning. Now, you can see this picture here. It says grief grips family after gruesome Muti killing. This is the family of a bereaved. This is a bereaved family. You can see the members of the family there, with one of them being having a romantic relationship with the victim. Well, there's more details, and that's a very sad story. There's more on that from the New Era. And the last one from the New Era, child porn accused denied bail over absconding fears. Child porn accused denied bail over absconding fears. That's also on the back page and page 5 of the New Era from Namibia this morning. Now, moving away from the papers, let's bring you the top stories for today.
And our top stories will begin right away in Uganda, where Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has described the explosion at the capital as a terrorist act and promised to hunt down those responsible for the explosion that killed 1 and injured 5. Spokesperson for the police, Fred Enange, while speaking to reporters, explained the events leading to the explosion and the identity of the only person killed.
That the explosion at Komamboga Ward has been confirmed to be an intentional act of domestic terror. The facts gathered clearly indicate that 3 men disguised as customers arrived at the eating point, which belongs to Lule Samuel, at around 8:30 p.m. Of course, after the 3 suspects had left the scene, they ultimately detonated the improvised explosive device that caused injuries to a total of 4 victims. These 4 victims were within the radius of 5 square meters. Right now, our condolences go to the family of one of the deceased, identified as Emily Nyinaneza, a 20-year-old waitress.
We just heard from the Ugandan spokesperson giving us details of the very sad incident. Now, President Museveni said that he had been briefed that 3 people left the package at the scene that later exploded, adding that investigators were still combing the bomb site and more details will be released later. He also advised the public to deal with this situation as a possible terrorist act. Meanwhile, Uganda has enforced a nationwide coronavirus-related situation from 7 p.m., but is not uniformly enforced.
Well, don't forget that you can also recall that on October 8th, the ISIS group claimed responsibility for an alleged bomb attack on a police post in Kawampe, near where Saturday's explosion occurred. Now, no blast or any injuries were reported by authorities or local media at the time, though police later confirmed the minor incident had occurred. So this is one sad incident that we are getting to see here taking place in Uganda. But of course, the more you stick with us on News Central, we look forward to bring to you more details on that. It's quite sad that this is happening. Museveni, one thing that we know him to do is he always comes out and is always proactive to speak. And that's exactly what the people were looking forward to hear. The papers have already said it as well, that you have experts who are combing around the place that the bomb took place, and they are taking their time to ensure that they get every information and every details that are necessary.
We have to recall that this is not the first time an incident like this has happened. In 2010, a group of Islamic extremists also came out and they bombed an area where over 74 or 73 people were killed as well. And the Islamic group came out to claim responsibility for this. Now, as we speak, right now, from what the police spokesperson from Uganda has come out to say, he also noted that there were some nails and some other local materials that were used for this explosive at the site where the explosive materials were gathered. And we know we'll be getting more information on that.
So that makes it clear that it was locally made. Anyway, let's bring to you more top stories right now. Well, away from Uganda, let's come back to West Africa with a 12-day ultimatum handed the federal government by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, for the unconditional release of their leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, failure of which the November 6th governorship election in the Anambra State may not hold. The stage appears set for a 7-day lockdown of the Southeast Zone. IPOB's Media and Public Secretary, Omah Powerful, in a statement in Awka, the Anambra State capital, said the protest was aimed at prevailing on the federal government to release its leader, Nnamdi Kanu.
Now, the group vowed that the protest would go on as planned if Kanu, who is facing trial on a 7-count amended charge bordering on treason and terrorism, was not released before November the 4th. Now, the group has also warned residents of the Southeast against flouting the impending sit-at-home directive, stressing that doing so amounts to testing the resolve of the people on the Biafra project.
Well, we're now being joined by constitutional lawyer and public affairs analyst, Barrister Sisi Chukwudi. He joins us all the way from Awka, the Anambra State capital. Good morning, Barrister Chukwudi.
Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
All right, so let's start by asking, how and what is the current situation of things in the Southeast, especially Awka, where you are?
Currently in Awka, like I used to say, is generally peaceful, except, of course, what is now the unusual normal, which is the Monday sit at home, which everybody is currently observing, including the school, because I saw a news recently by Anambra State Basic Education Board, ASUBES, saying that in compliance with that particular regulation, school will now be observed on Saturdays in order to augment the Mondays, which, according to the IPOB, could no longer be a working day, including for students. So every place is calm, except, of course, that there is a tension here and there in observance to those declarations of sit-at-homes on every Monday. So like today, some of the banks, some of the students or schools are not open for business or for educational activities. And that is why every other place is quite calm, and businesses are not open like you see shops, markets, and other things. That is usual. The unusual normal, it happens in Anambra State and many other parts of the southeastern states every Monday.
Right, Barrister. I mean, this brings the economic activity in Anambra State almost to a halt on a day like this. Now, we saw the outcome of Nnamdi Kanu's arraignment in court just last week. What are your thoughts on the court's decision? Barrister, can you hear us?
The decision,
Right,
if I
Barrister.
get you clear, please come again.
Right, we're talking about Nnamdi Kanu's court arraignment that happened just last week. Tell us your thoughts on the court's decision.
The decisions of the court, particularly It was just an arraignment. And like I said, it was there was an observation of what we call post-amendment procedure. Post-amendment procedure is a procedure that is observed after an amendment is done on a charge. When a charge is altered, either by way of addition, reduction, or inclusion of certain facts in order to bring its efficacy to bear. Now, it will be observed post-amendment procedure. The charges will be read for him again to take a fresh plea. That was what happened on the last adjourned date. And then that date, there was an application, so we have that he be moved from the custodies of DSS to the correctional center, which the Honorable Court rejected. And by so doing, the court adjourned till November 10th in order to hear the substantive application challenging the jurisdiction of the Honorable Court. So our thought generally is that once an arraignment has taken place, plea taken, and the defendant has pleaded not guilty to the count of the charges, then it means that trial has commenced. And once trial has commenced, every other looking and waiting for justice to be done, so that the people in the prosecution side will lead their evidence and then present their witnesses in order to justify the charge against the defendant. And where they fail to do so, the court will do the needful upon applications of the defendant's counsel.
All right, let's look at the 12-day ultimatum handed the federal government by IPOB for the unconditional release of Kanu. The group equally is threatening to scuttle the Anambra election come November 6. Do you see any headway in all of this?
Indeed, I would rather condemn such ultimatum in all sense of reasonability, in all sense of fairness. I believe that what we are now, if an application is pending before the court, if a matter is subject before the Honorable Court, what is required by all the parties is to observe the regular constitutional process, make an application officially to the court for either the release or expeditious trial of the defendant. Putting an ultimatum that he be released unconditionally is setting the cart before the horse. It means that you have known that indeed he has subject.
Okay, we seem to have a little network glitch right there, but we still have our assistants if you could be here with us. Hopefully here.
I don't know where you get me at.
All right, we can hear you. Go
Hello?
ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. What I'm saying in essence before that interruption was since Nnamdi Kanu and the team of his lawyers have submitted themselves to the regular procedures of the Honorable Court, courts required and constitutionally speaking that they allow the constitutional process to take its course, the judicial course to play, in order that if they need an application to release him, they should make such application to the Honorable Court and not to place unnecessarily mandate to the community, to the people living in Anambra State, to the people living in the Southeast who are currently suffering not only economic setback, but I've just mentioned educational setback.
Barrister, I think.
Because the children are no longer going to school on Monday. People are not would indeed place a lot of hardship. Sitting on the side of law would be a subsidy, such an action which is taken against the cause of justice, against the free flow of justice, or trying to use any other self-help in order to get a decision from the court would not assist the Honorable Court in taking a proper decision. I think that it's a misfiring. It's an action which is taken outside the judicial process, and as such, it's not encouraged.
Right, Barrister, now looking at this scenario, I mean, for every day that economic activity in Anambra is put to a halt, you have 10 million naira, minimum of 10 million naira is lost per day because of the sit-at-home. Now, what happens if election doesn't take place come November 6th?
Indeed, there are several situations which may happen, and the election may not take place. It's not only that there is a declaration, if we have such situations and the law takes full cognizance of such situations, and if such a thing happens, there is likelihood that the election may be postponed to a particular day in order to allow security to down. I've mentioned what happened in Borno State in 2015 when there was serious insecurity, and during that period, the election was postponed to a particular day. The Constitution allows it. If we look at Section 178 of our Constitution and we look at subsection 2, it says that it will not be held within a particular day, not later than 30 days before the date of the expiration of the current tenure of the governor, or not earlier than 60 days before the expiration of the. So we are still within the ambit of time. All that will be done is that let it not be the outside the constitutionally provided period, so as to allow the situation to calm down. What we are advising is that if the INEC, looking at the scenario, looking at the entire situation, and finds out that it is totally unconducive for election to be held on 6th day of November 2020 and 21, there is likelihood that it will be shifted to another adjusted date in order to accommodate the area that is a troubling society or troubling area. So if by so doing, what will happen generally is that there is likelihood of shifting the election to a date that is most convenient. But where at all it never happened, such a situation is not created under our own law. There must be a solution to that effect.
All right, so just to wrap things up quickly, you've said that there might be a shift of dates to another time, but there has been continued silence on the part of the Southeast governors over this issue. Just recently, I'd say yesterday, APGA, APC and PDP have gone ahead to say that elections will hold, and yet we haven't heard from the governors. What do you make out of this?
Sincerely speaking, I do not think there has been silence on the part of the governor. I've heard the governor of Anambra State spoken in few occasions, guaranteeing that there will be an election within the state. In fact, when the Attorney General did suggest to prevent the election, there is considerations of a state of emergency. The governor responded immediately and saying that all the facilities and all the plans have been put in place. In fact, some of the areas affected during the insecurity have been restored. So the government is ready to that effect. You know, if I must say, the governor cannot at all times come out and continue to say election must hold, election must hold. It is within the ambit of the INEC to conduct the election, not the government. The Constitution clearly says so. So the governor will only assure that there is a security in my own zone, in my constituency, in my own state. But it is for the INEC to champion the conduct of the election and not the government. So the governor has made it clear that the security is so firm and clear for the election to be conducted. It is for the INEC to assess the situation and then proceed with the election. And if there are areas that elections were unable to be conducted during the day, there will be a date for MAPO.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, constitutional lawyer and public affairs analyst, Barrister C.C. Chukwudi, joining us all the way from Awka this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate. Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
All right, we just heard that from the constitutional lawyer talking about the Anambra election come November 6th. So according to our constitution, we're still within the time frame should anything happen to November 6th or on the day of November 6th. Hopefully, Joe, I hope nothing happens, and I hope Anambrarians are ready and are safe enough to come out to cast their votes.
Well, we'll get to hear more information on that as the days go by. But for now, let's keep you abreast with the latest stories outside of Nigeria. Up next is Africa Report. You watch Breakfast Central. In 2019, SADC member countries made a decision to rally behind Zimbabwe in its campaign against sanctions imposed in the country by the Western world. The summit of heads of state and government of the Southern African Development Community, otherwise known as SADC, declared 25th October as a day for SADC to campaign as a region for the unconditional removal of sanctions imposed on the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Today, SADC countries once again rally behind Zimbabwe and its people in the call for the removal of sanctions. Now, this year's commemorations come at a time when the U.S. Special Rapporteur Alena Dohan is in the country for a 10-day tour to assess the impact of sanctions. We're now joined by our Zimbabwean correspondent, Lala Ngwenya. Lala, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Aluchi. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning to you.
So, morning. So the commemorations this year are running under the theme "Friend to all, enemy to none," forging ahead and enhancing innovation and productivity in adversity of sanctions. So what the government is saying here is that, okay, though we've had sanctions for the greater part of the 20th century, we have managed to forge through. We have managed to create employment. And when they talk about employment, basically they are talking about the informal sector, which up to date has created over 1.6 million jobs for individuals. Okay. However, the government is also concerned about some of the damage that sanctions have done in the country. For example, the Minister of the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Minister Ziyambi, mentioned something quite interesting. He mentioned that in 1998, the Zimbabwean government had purchased 1,500 Land Rover Defenders vehicles for the Zimbabwe Republic Police to use. And when sanctions were imposed, the United Kingdom had only delivered 500 of those vehicles. And up to date, the balance of 1,000 vehicles is still outstanding. They haven't delivered those vehicles. And this is, part of the whole sanctions upon the country. And also the government has mentioned issues of negativity towards Zimbabwe created by the sanctions and how Zimbabwe has been viewed negatively, actually, out internationally. And this has affected Zimbabwe in getting financial help when it comes to issues to do with agricultural financing and inputs. And this has really affected even food production when it comes to Zimbabwe.
That's interesting. So, Lala, let me also ask this question. We've seen other countries rally behind Zimbabwe. Take, for instance, ZANU-PF, South Africa there. They've come out to say that this must happen. What's the atmosphere like right there in Zimbabwe? Does it look like it is almost certain?
Zimbabwe and the government and Zimbabweans, of course, those Zimbabweans that are against the sanctions. Remember, there are two.
Okay, we seem to have some connectivity issues this Monday morning, but I'm sure we'll be able to connect back to Lala, who is our correspondent out there in Zimbabwe, breaking it down for us and letting us know that today is SADC a day, a very special one out there in Zimbabwe. So if you are a Zimbabwean I'm sure that you are actually looking forward to this day and you really want to know what effect it has, especially for your country.
Now, Joe, I keep trying to call you Olisa.
Don't try that.
This is Joe now. We have to. So, Joe, this is a day that was accepted in the year 2019 when they had the 39th summit. That's the SADC heads of state. They came together and they had a summit and they said, okay, you know what? We need to keep a day to do what to have a solidarity to show support for Zimbabwe so that these international sanctions can be removed by the Western countries. So it's been 2019, 2020, this is 2021. So 3 years consistently of ensuring that they stand by Zimbabwe to show support for these sanctions to be removed totally.
Well, let's bring Lola back on before we go at the end of this top story. But let's listen to Lola first of all. Lola, I understand that you're back, so tell us more.
Okay, so hi Joe. Yes, I'm back. Please, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so we were looking at the atmosphere right there in Zimbabwe and what Zimbabweans are expecting that this would actually mean for them.
Okay, so as I was saying, there seems to be two camps in the country. There are people that are against sanctions imposed in the country. Then there are those that are saying, no, the sanctions should stay on. Obviously, these are obviously people from the opposition political parties who say that these sanctions were targeted or are targeted at certain individuals. But history and the way things have turned out for Zimbabwe in the past 20 years show that even though some of the sanctions may be targeted at individuals, they go down to affect the ordinary Zimbabweans. For example, what I mentioned earlier about the Zimbabwe Republic Police not getting what it purchased in 1998 due to sanctions. So that shows that these sanctions have affected a whole institute that has sort of affected its mobilization, when they move around, when they are called for when their crimes are happening and they are not able to move around and go and attend to these crimes and situations on time. So right now, today, there are going to be marches, there are going to be music galas, all in solidarity with this. And President Nyangadwa, he's going to lead the commemorations by addressing the nation. And during these commemorations, they are going to also play pre-recorded messages from fellow SADC member states leaders who are also, in solidarity and are rallying behind Zimbabwe on this campaign against sanctions in Zimbabwe.
Right. Thank you so much, Lala Ngwenya, reporting all the way from Zimbabwe. We hope Zimbabweans are pretty excited and we're hopeful the sanctions will be lifted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That was Lala, our correspondent all the way from Zimbabwe. If you just tuned in, well, you've missed a bit of our top stories, but we have the second half for you. But let's remind you of the stories that we have brought for you today on the top stories. A quick recap, and here it is.
We talked about Nigeria, how President Buhari is to unveil e-Naira today.
And aside that, we also just told you about October 25th, SADC Anti-Sanctions Day in Zimbabwe.
And we also went to Uganda, talking about the Kampala explosion, how it kills 1 and injured 5.
You're still watching Breakfast Central. Coming up next on the program, Namibia suspends use of Russia's Sputnik V.
Plus, Stoneboy Ebuka Obi Uchendu wins Emmy Africa Award.
And we'll tell you about the programs that you need not miss on the channel. You're watching Breakfast Central or News Central. Let's bring you an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. And this time we'll take you straight to Namibia, where the country has suspended the rollout of Russia's Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine days after the drugs regulator in neighboring South Africa flagged concerns about its safety for people at risk of HIV.
Namibia's health ministry said in a statement that the decision to discontinue use of Russia's vaccine was out of abundance of caution that men who received the Sputnik V may be at higher risk of contracting HIV, adding that it has taken SAPRA's decision into account. Meanwhile, Gamaleya's Research Institute, which developed Sputnik V, says Namibia's decision was not based on any scientific evidence or research, adding that Sputnik V remains one of the safest and most efficient vaccines against COVID-19 in use globally.
Well, Namibia said the suspension would last until Sputnik V receives a World Health Organization emergency use listing, but it will offer people who receive the first dose of Sputnik V a second to complete the immunization course. And that's exactly what is ongoing there in Namibia. They have said that there will be no use of Russia's Sputnik V, and that's what's going to happen. But anyway, let's quickly tell you what the index says about Africa this morning. According to the Africa Center for Disease Control, the region has recorded over 8.54 million cases, over 217,000 deaths, with over 7.8 million recoveries. And we can see that the numbers keep fluctuating. It goes high, it comes down, it's in between. Sometimes it's just stable. And that calls for each and every one of us to ensure that we follow the procedures. Ensure you wear your nose mask, ensure you wash your hands, keep social distancing like I am doing in the studio, staying away from Oluchi so that she doesn't stay too close. And we're just trying to keep
But Joe,
safe
I mean,
as well.
the federal government of Nigeria has come out to say it's high time we start to manufacture or produce our own vaccines as well. And let's not also forget the third booster, I mean, that is out there now. And I mean, a lot of African countries and even foreign countries, developed countries, are coming out to say a third booster might be what we need at this point in time. But then, Joe, a lot of people are still skeptical in terms of accepting or wanting to take the vaccine. We know some other African countries where the people of those countries have not fully accepted to come out and get fully vaccinated. So that's still a challenge in this part of the continent.
That's really a challenge. And don't forget too as well that a lot of people are still talking about the after effects of taking a vaccine. But hey, it's just going to stay for a while and then you will kick back in and get back into action. Up next, we've got entertainment for you here on Breakfast Central.
Many thanks for watching. Now it's getting to that time of the year where we'll be seeing so many shows and award ceremonies in the entertainment scene. And it seems some people are already bagging some awards for themselves. Well, we have Gabby from our entertainment desk to tell us more on what's happening. What's the latest in entertainment, Gabby?
Good morning, Oluchi. Good morning, Joe. Yes, you are right.
I thought you were going to say Olisa.
No, I would not make that mistake. Definitely not. Okay, so I'm going straight into the stories. First of all, starting off in the Gold Coast, they just concluded 6th edition of the prestigious exclusive Men of the Year Africa Awards held in Accra, Ghana, and that was on Saturday. A total of 25 men and women were given awards. One of these individuals, a Ghanaian business mogul, Ibrahim Mahama, who emerged as the business magnate of the year. Then we also had Stone Boy, who received the Music Man of the Year award. Then there was Nigeria's Ebuka Obi Uchendu, who was recognized for his unique and appealing sense of style with a Man of Style award, and Ghanaian YouTuber Wode Maya, who received the Discovery of the Year award. Other awardees include Chief Executive Officer of the Midan Group and Vodafone Ghana, Daniel McCauley, and Patricia Obonai, who were adjudged the 2021 Man and Woman of the Year, respectively. The event had stage performances from Fameye, Edina, and the legendary Ahmad Zeba. Congratulations to everyone who was nominated and to everyone who won this award. Let's take a look at this clip.
City, right there in the front. And under this alveolar spell, ladies and gentlemen, let me see peep into you all.
So that's it from the EMI Awards. Now we're moving to another news where after his just concluded Purple Tour in the US, Nigerian Afropop singer Stanley Omah popularly known as Omah, is set for a live performance in Kenya on October 30, 2021. Now, the organizers posted this on their social media platform to announce date and venue. In his words, "Yo, what's up, Kenya? This is Omah, and I'm going to be performing live at the Pizza and Wine Festival on the 30th of October. So come out with your friends, come, let's have fun, all right?" This year's edition of the Pizza and Wine Festival takes place on October 30 and 31st, 2021 in Kenya. Other Kenyan acts lined up to grace the event include Benso, Karun, Nikita Kering, Chris Kega, Mviri, the storyteller, and Kahush, and more acts to be announced at the event. We recall that Omah's visit comes barely a year after he was arrested in Uganda for reportedly performing at an event despite a ban to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Now, luckily, fans can have an absolutely amazing time out at the festival as the ban on nightlife in Kenya was lifted only a few days ago. This is because the coronavirus cases have begun to ease in the country. And now to news on the news concerning movies. Filmmakers and enthusiasts from across the globe gathered in Burkina Faso for the 2021 Pan-African Film and Television Festival at Ouagadougou, which wrapped up on Saturday, October 23rd. The festival, which holds every 2 years, was originally slated for February, but was delayed due to COVID-19 restrictions and the crippling security conditions in the country. 239 films of 1,132 entries from 50 countries were shortlisted for this year's festival themed Cinemas of Africa and the Diaspora, New Perspectives, New Challenges, out of which 17 feature films battled for the highly coveted Golden Stallion of the Enenga Grand Prize. In the competition were directors from Egypt, Angola, Burkina Faso, Namibia, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Somalia, Tanzania, and many other African countries. In the documentary category, 15 films competed for the prize. Each category was awarded first, second, and third place winners with a cash prize. The Gravedigger's Wife from Somali, director Ahmad Kada, grabbed the coveted Golden Stallion of the Enenga Award for Best Picture on Saturday night. For second place, which is Best Picture Silver Stallion Award, Jessica Genius of Haiti won Work of Freda. Third place went to Tunisian director Leila Bouzia for A Tale of Love and Desire. Other wins include the Best Actor Award, which went to Alison C for his role in Nafi's Father, directed by Mamadou Dia. Zainab Jah also won Best Actress for her role in Farewell Armor by Tanzanian director Ekwa Masingi. And so that's all the story we have for you.
Quite interesting. Quite interesting. I think for me, I'm more excited about the EMY Awards. They're looking good. I mean, taking a look at men and other people who have done something fantastic for themselves.
Yeah.
I
knew you were going to say that. I'm looking forward to the wine and pizza festival. I mean, I would be watching them virtually. I'll be sipping my wine and a slice of pizza. I need to try that more.
Anyway, we've got still to come coming your way in a bit. Sports is up next. And as I mentioned, definitely Gide smashes world record. We'll tell you all about that. So just do us a favor, stay with us after this timeout. And we are excited, no doubt. It's Breakfast Central on a Monday morning. Sports is up next, and we've got the beautiful Yinye Obaro who's on standby to tell us what the latest is. Good morning to you, Yinye.
The latest in the world of sport. Record-breaking action in the world of sport, Joe. Of course, we're able to know who the real Reds were, the Red Devils, or even the Reds as they call them from Liverpool. All right, let's get straight to the action right now. In the world of sport, we would say it was a record-breaking moment for Ethiopia's Lesin Sebet Kide. Of course, she smashed the women's half marathon there for a world record on Sunday, finishing in 1 hour, 2 minutes and 52 seconds at Valencia Half Marathon in Trinidad. Of course, the 23-year-old Gide, who is also the world record holder in the 5,000 meters and the 10,000 meters women's event, is a record holder in both categories. Now, she shaved more than a minute off the previous half marathon mark for 1 hour, 04 minutes and 2 seconds set by Ruth Chepngetich in this year. Now, in the men's race, we could see that Kenya, another African to Abel Kipchumba, made a late charge to win by 58.07 seconds there, moving him to the 6th spot all-time list. It was a great one for Africans because we know that they always dominate long-distance races over there. Ethiopia, Kenya, big congratulations to them. Now let's go to the world of football. Now it's the AFCON qualifiers for 2022. A big shocker coming from there because we had the first leg played in Nigeria at the Onikon Stadium when Nigeria defeated Ghana. Now 2-0. Now is the quest for who the best jollof rice would win. Of course, Ghana went back to Accra for the second leg, but they won 1-0. But this time around, they did not go to the next stage because on aggregate, it was 2-1. So Ghana is out of the ticket to the AFCON qualifiers for 2022. Nigeria takes dominance over there, and their next game will be against Cote d'Ivoire, who also dominated. So let's see the results coming from there. We can say for sure that Cameroon had to defeat Central African Republic 2-0, while we had Benin go against Burkina Faso, and Burkina Faso had that away win from against Benin. Now we could see for sure that Ghana, after winning 1-0, they still did not go through to the next round. Now to the CAF Champions League results. One huge thing did happen in the CAF Champions League results for the weekend. Now Botswana champions Sports Galaxy, they defied all odds. They're taking out Simba from Tanzania. No one would have ever thought that Simba will not be making it to the CAF Champions League for this year. But Botswana champions Galaxy were able to do that. So see results coming from there, from the CAF Champions League. All these games played. Rivers United from Nigeria did not go through due to aggregate 2-1, dominated by Al Demand there. We also saw the CAF Confederation Cup Amber there going through by aggregate. So it's a great one for Finidi George, who is their new coach. Now moving away from that, in the EPL, as I did say earlier, we knew who got dominance, the Red Devils or the Reds. We would say Mo Salah, the Egyptian god, was able to stand up for Liverpool, having to be recorded as the top African goal scorer in the Premier League. Now he has got 106 goals ahead of Didier Drogba, who was for Chelsea at that time, who had 104. But Sadio Mane stands at 100, 3 Africans dominating the Premier League. Now, of course, Joe, now I would say for sure that you were really indeed happy for Liverpool. That win was a great one. They had to disgrace Manchester United, even with Cristiano Ronaldo.
It was a good game, no doubt. It was a good game, but I saw this coming, and I knew it was going to be a tough nut for Manchester United to crack, no doubt. You cannot just wake up in the morning and say, you know what, because we have the world's best striker, therefore we're going to beat a Jurgen Klopp side that has been building a team over the past 3 seasons. Come on.
Now, Joe and Onini, I'm sure you guys saw a lot of memes on social media.
Yes, of course.
Even to this morning, I saw there were some people who gave some expression. I was like, Habba, no. Habba.
Joe, it's going to be, the time is ticking. The exit door for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm going to leave that to you right now.
It's obvious. Thank you so much, Onini, for talking to us. Thank you. And don't forget to actually make your comments. Feel free, share with us, follow us on our socials, drop your comments on what you think or what you thought about the game yesterday. But first, let's also let the people know what programs we have for them.
Right. Now, before we go on, before we leave the studio, here are some programs you do not want to miss that will be coming up later today on News Central. At 11 a.m. West African time, we have Business Edge.
And at 7 p.m. West African time, it's Village Square Africa.
Plus, you don't want to miss 9 p.m. West African time, all about NC Continental Prime.
And that's how we wrap up the show for today on a Monday. Hey, Joe Hansen here. I'm reporting for duty. Olisa has actually taken that time out to cool off. Probably still, maybe not celebrating, but celebrating Arsenal's victory.
Definitely celebrated. And on behalf of Oluchi and Joe, not Olisa, this time around, and the technical and production crew, we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Do have yourself a lovely day. At the mall.